Hey, this is Colin Crandall from the MMA Power Hour, brought to you by iFluxy Studios. The MMA Power Hour is a show produced by fighters, coaches, and fans of our sport of mixed martial arts, so it is dedicated to anyone out there involved. We have top contenders as well as world champions. We have legends and Hall of Famers in our sport. They're talking about themselves, how they got to where they are, who they are, what they're about, what projects they're involved in, as well as predicting huge upcoming MMA fights and a lot more. Let's get ready to feel the power. MMA Power Hour brought to you by iFluxy Studios. And welcome to the MMA Power Hour. So glad to have you back with us. We're back, as they say. Happy to be for season number 2. Excited to talk about all the amazing things that are going on in the world of MMA, and glad to have our friends with us. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Our first guest is a very good friend of the show, someone we respect, as does everyone in the world of MMA, one of the most respected journalists and experts in the industry. He is the editor at Combat Press, staff writer at Invicta Fighting Championships. We're talking about none other than Mr. Rob Tatum. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me back on. Love talking fights with you guys.
I appreciate it. Feelings very mutual, my friend. So let's jump into what is going on. You have a ton of stuff going on, I know, between Combat Press and everything you're covering there, which is pretty much everything in the world of combat, as well as Invicta. But what's on the tip of your tongue now, and whatever's there, let's spit it out and start with that.
Sure. Yeah, it's a busy week. You and I touched base a little earlier this week. There's Glory, there's LFA, there's boxing. We got everything going on this week. But my focus over the next couple weeks here is the next Invicta event. It's our 25th event. We're coming to Tachi Palace in Central California. First time we've ever been there. We got a vacant bantamweight belt that's just waiting for somebody to put it around their waist. You guys are more than aware of Tanya Evinger going to the UFC and facing Chris Cyborg recently.
Yes.
And, now we've got this opportunity to crown a new champion. And we've got, Yana Kunitskaya, who actually fought Tanya twice.
Mm-hmm.
She unfortunately came up short the last time, but she's certainly a very, very talented fighter. She's been training down at Jackson's MMA. Everybody thinks she's a striker, but she's shown a couple times now that she's got, she can threaten with submissions both in the first fight and the second fight. And she's going up against a resurgent Rickels Palaliue, who, you look at her record and you say 6-5, well, what's that? But then you look at the competition she's faced. She's lost to Sarah McMahon, Tanya Evinger, some of the best fighters in the world. And, she's been on a roll lately, and she's, got her brown belt in BJJ now, and she's just going out there and dominating fighters. So, I think that, if you haven't been paying attention to the Invicta Bantamweight division, that this fight should really, really excite you.
Absolutely, and I agree 100%. And one of the other great fighters that Raquel lost to a while back was Kat Zingano, and she did tough against her. So yeah, I think in Raquel's case, it was really a case of iron sharpening iron, or some people say steel sharpening steel. She was coming up, she was facing just the baddest women in the planet, and was doing well, but just not quite getting over the hump. And then she just kind of it seems like she just kind of really saw what she needed to do, made her changes, upped her game, and it all clicked in. Then she's been really pretty impossible to beat over the last 2 years or so, though. So yeah, I think that she's definitely a force, and I think were she to beat Yana Kunitskaya, then she would be a great champion. But the reverse as well. Like you said, our friends at Jackson Wink train the best of the best, and Kunitskaya is in there, having training, I'm sure, against Holly Holm and Jody Escobar and who knows how many other great women's fighters and men's fighters. And so that is going to be a hell of a fight, because both of them probably really would love to have that strap around their waist.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. We originally had 2 title fights on this card, but unfortunately, another Jackson's fighter, Jody Escobel, unfortunately had to withdraw. But I still think our co-main event's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a former strawweight champion and Livia Renata Souza, and she's taking on another Brazilian, Janessa Mirandin, who's moving up from atomweight. She's 9-0. She's never lost. This will be her Invicta debut. But you've got two extremely talented Brazilians that are looking to make a name for themselves and make a case for whether they should get a title shot. In Mirandin's case, could be at 105, could be at 115, but I think we definitely were able to fill a pretty good gap there. And let's not forget some of the other fights on this card. Sharon Jacobson is coming back. Mm-hmm. Some people are probably thinking, who's Sharon Jacobson? Because she's been out for a while, but she's a sergeant in the U.S. Army, so she's got some other commitments going on. But let's not forget the two Invicta fights she's had. She's had fight of the night both times. She beat the UFC's Jamie Moyle in one of those fights. So she's coming in to take on an undefeated fighter in Callie Robbins, who's trains with Red Schaefer up in Wisconsin. She's got an 8-second KO on her record. There's going to be some good fights on this card. And you dig a little deeper and you start seeing that there's a lot of up and coming talent on this card. And I think that's what I'm looking the most forward to with this event is you get some fighters like Elise Anderson, who's a 3-0 atomweight, going to make her Invicta debut. She's taken on a very game Shino Van Hoos, who made her pro debut when she was 16 years old in Japan. Wow. I mean, there's just some crazy stuff when you start digging a little deeper. And we released some news today. Unfortunately, Switzerland's Stephanie Ager had to withdraw from her bantamweight fight against Yaya Rincon, but we were able to replace her with Colorado's Courtney King. So that fight's now at featherweight. But I promise you that fight is going to be bonkers. Courtney King is someone that I've been able to watch firsthand here in Colorado through the years. She loves the ring and she loves the strike. So I think that her and Rincon is definitely a sleeper for fight of the night on that card.
I wouldn't be surprised, and I'd like seeing the featherweight so we can see more people that may be competing at that high level of 145. Let me bring in, speaking of atom weight, we have Dr. Adam Roorda, our show producer, who definitely has upped his game as far as MMA knowledge, and would love to jump in and say hello and perhaps add something. What do you got, Doctor?
Well, just wanted to say hi to everybody here on the show. Love that you're here with us today, Rob. Appreciate it a lot. So just kind of out of curiosity, we were talking about the fighter who was no longer going to be fighting. Do you know the reasoning behind that? Or where are we at with that fight? Is it something that we're rescheduling? We're putting a new fighter in? What are we looking at there?
Yeah, unfortunately, Jody Escobel had an injury in training. That's as much detail as I can give on that. But, she'll be back. I think that, the winner of the Souza and Mirandin fight is definitely in the mix for potentially rescheduling the strawweight title fight. Again, that's another title that is currently vacant. Angela Hill is back in the UFC. So, we've definitely had a pipeline lately of sending our talent over to challenge, some of the big fighters in the UFC. And, we're just back on our horse, developing the next wave. I mean, we have the deepest talent pool in women's MMA, and Absolutely. We just keep cranking them out. So, look for Souza or Mirandin, whoever wins that fight, to definitely be in the discussion for a later down the road fight with Escobel. Like I said, Sharon Jacobson and Callie Robbins, there's another fight that could have title implications. I never want to make too many assumptions with this. It's really up to what Caitlin Young, our matchmaker, and Shannon Knapp want to do. I'm just the peanut gallery that gets to give my 2 cents every once in a while.
Absolutely. Well, your 2 cents is worth a lot, and absolutely, I know it's appreciated over there. I know that Sharon Jacobson is someone that a lot of fighters have called on to help with their wrestling. So a lot of people should know, if you haven't heard of her, she's a force. I think she was tried out for the Olympics or was an alternate on a couple of occasions, and so she is a badass fighter, and a lot of people, a lot of top level female fighters have called on Sharon Jacobson to help tighten up their wrestling. So she's a force, and she's definitely someone that has a future in the sport and is proving that, I think.
Yeah, she's a two-time U.S. Open champion in wrestling. That's nothing to ignore.
Yeah.
She's been training with a couple of Invicta veterans that are now in the UFC, and Tisha Torres and Raquel Pennington down in Colorado Springs. So she's definitely one to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't want to discount her matchup with Callie Robbins, because Callie is someone that used to train at Rufus Sport. She now trains with Red Schaefer. Got knockout power. That's a fight that is kind of flying under the radar on this card. That there's definitely, if someone in that fight wins impressively, like I said, it could throw a whole monkey wrench into that strawweight title picture.
Yeah, I can see that. It should be a really exciting fight without a doubt. Absolutely some good stuff going on there. And for all of you guys who don't remember, we will be there. Rob will be there. I will be there. Dr. Adam Roorda will be there. I think Rob will be a little bit busier maybe than we are, so I wouldn't count on getting a chance to say hi to Rob. But we're going to be there covering it, but you may get a chance to say hi to Dr. Roorda and myself. So if you're down there and can text us, and we're happy to shake hands. And if you have babies, we'll kiss babies. If you have a button you want to elect us for the next president, vice president, whatever the hell I'm saying, we're there. We'll be happy to say hello, that we appreciate our supporters and people that like our show. So that should be a great event. Really look forward to it. And that's the first time Invicta will be at the Tachi Palace arena there in Lemoore. Isn't that right, Rob?
Yes, correct. Yeah, this is our first time heading out there. That's a very famous arena. I mean, you've had old WC events there. You had Palace Fighting Championships, Tachi Palace Fighting Championships. There's been a lot of big events there. There's been boxing there. There's been lots of stuff at that. It's a pretty infamous venue, if you will. So we're looking forward to making our debut out there. And I'm not so much looking forward to enduring the heat. I was looking at the forecast, and it's going to be in the triple digits while we're out there. I'm sure the ladies will be bringing the heat in the cage, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, they will. It'll be a good time. And for all you people listening, the surprise is it will be on a Thursday.
Yes.
Right, because coming up after that is the Labor Day weekend, and it just
Correct.
Wouldn't be ideal to have had that on a weekend day. So if you guys can get free, I think that the main, not just the main, I think the first fight doesn't start until like 5 or 6. So technically, a lot of you can do your whole work day, or those of you that work later just miss a couple hours of work, and you can actually come and see these fights. But they are on Thursday in Southern California, so don't miss it. It's going to be well worth the price of admission, and I believe there are tickets left, right, Rob?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yep. And if not, you can catch it live on UFC Fight Pass. Showtime's at 6 Pacific. Come watch and see a bunch of ladies that kick some ass.
Absolutely, and they're amazing and well worth the Fight Pass $9.95 price of admission, or a 7-day free trial period for Fight Pass. So check it out. Awesome. Invicta number 25, right?
Silver one, 25.
25th anniversary Invicta. Awesome. So let's jump on to the upcoming season of The Ultimate Fighter with women's flyweights. I'm so excited about that. Everyone I talked to is excited about that. I'm sure you are. Let's hear a little bit of your thoughts on that upcoming season of the Tough Show.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's been far too long that the UFC hasn't had a flyweight division. They've kind of forced fighters to jump back and forth between strawweight and bantamweight. So I'm glad they're finally adding 125 pounds. It's a very deep division. It's been a staple of Invicta since, for the past 5 years. And I'm glad to see that, these really talented females are getting the opportunity to compete, for the UFC and for a title on this show. I mean, it definitely brings a new dynamic to The Ultimate Fighter. You've got 16 athletes in the house fighting for a belt, which is, they've done it before, but it's a pretty rare occurrence. There are some really, really talented female athletes on that show, a bunch of former Invicta fighters. I think you're looking at, there's at least 4 or 5 that are definitely for sure going to be in the mix for winning that show. And I think there's a couple of dark horses on there. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people are going to point to Roxanne Modafferi because she's, fought in the UFC. She was on Tough 18.
Mm-hmm.
She's a familiar face for a lot of people. She's going at it again. Where she's back at flyweight though, where she's had the most success. I mean, she's challenged for the Invicta belt. She came up short, but every fight that Roxanne has, she's shown evolution. Training down at Syndicate in Las Vegas. I definitely think she's in contention. You've got Barb Honchak, who was one of the most dominant champions in Invicta history. things didn't quite work out in that regard, but I'm glad to see she's back, and I'm glad to see she's fighting again, because she's absolutely one of the best women fighters on the planet. She was arguably top 5 pound for pound female fighter before her 3 years off, but I'm glad she's going to be back in the mix. And there's a couple other really strong competitors. You got another former Invicta champion in Lauren Murphy, who's been competing in the UFC's bantamweight division for a while, and she's dropping down to 125. So let's see what happens there. It's the first time she's competed at 125. All her fights in Invicta were at 135. And then you've got Deanna Bennett, who she was a strawweight title challenger for Invicta. She's a very, very skilled fighter. She's she's had all of her fights all of her losses have been razor close, with the exception of that fight at 115. So, it's good to see her back at 125, and I think she's going to do damage. So, I think those are your 4 favorites on the show, but there's a lot of talent on that show that maybe people haven't heard about, or maybe they're not sure about. Like I said, there's a couple dark horses in my eyes. Obviously, since they're Invicta veterans, I'm a little bit more familiar with them, but I would not sleep on Sajara Eubanks. She's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Her only loss is against Aspen Ladd, who's now in the UFC. She's probably got the best ground game in the house. And if she can, overcome the fact that she's cutting to 125 repeatedly, I think she's got a chance. And then another name to look out for, I think, is Ariel Beck. She's another one that competed in Invicta. She's also fought for Legacy. She fought Andrea Lee, actually, for a belt down there. She's got pro boxing experience. So there's a couple of dark horses in there that maybe people are overlooking. And if you really want to dive deep, you can start poking around on these prospects. Like there's a couple younger ones that, kind of just under the radar up to this point. One, Jillian Robertson, that's the one that I think has probably the best chance to make waves. She doesn't have she's only got 5 professional fights, but one of those losses is to Cynthia Calvillo, who's been making all sorts of waves in the UFC. She trains out of American Top Team. I wouldn't sleep too much on her. And there's a couple other familiar names in Rachel Ostovich, who's another Invicta vet. I really think it's going to be a fun show. I'm hoping that with the personalities of Deanna Bennett and Roxanne Modafferi, that you're going to see a lot more entertaining show than just the typical tough, where the bunch of guys hanging out in the house being tough guys. I don't think you're going to see that in this season.
Yeah, I agree. Because there's so many veterans, so many fighters that have had so much experience, and there's just going to be so many great fights. A lot of them have really developed personas, and they're really cool women. And so I'm super excited. I think this is going to be a kick-ass season. I will, on occasion, miss an entire tough season. This one, I don't think I'm going to miss one episode. Speaking of which, do you know what's the premiere date on that? Do you know?
It's Wednesday of next week, actually. So it's coming right up. The women just got out of the house, I believe, last week, and they're turning around real quick and starting the season. So, the season starts next Wednesday, and I think the finale is going to be the first weekend of December. So, no rest for the wicked. They're just cranking things out over there at the UFC Productions, and I'm looking forward to see what happens. There's 16 talented fighters in there, and I think that whoever comes out of that house is definitely going to be worthy of being a champion.
Yeah, I think so. And whoever comes out of that house, the final 2 people that fight will be fighting for the title. I know Rob said it, but for those of you that are not really familiar, a lot of the Ultimate Fighter reality shows don't have anything to do with any of them being a champion at the end or fighting for the title. This is a case where it does, because there is no 125-pound division in the UFC. So in this case, you're going to literally get to see people who are going to be the top 10, top 5 people in that division, and get to know them and actually get to know the champion, because the champion will be one of those women that's in that house that you'll get to watch every week. So I think it's a really cool opportunity for fans to get to know someone that's going to be a champion. So that'll be great. Well, I know in about 7 or 8 minutes you have another obligation, so let's try to go over a couple things in this next 7 or 8 minutes. First thing is,
sure.
John Jones, unfortunate situation. We're really good friends with Jackson Wink, and we know that they certainly I can't imagine they had any idea what was going on. I can't imagine they would have wanted any problems. I don't think he would have wanted any problems. It is really unfortunate, though, because to have this as a consistent problem is just no good, and people have feelings one way or another. But What do you think about what's going to happen with the belt? Do you think it should be vacant, or would you think it should revert to DC, Daniel Cormier being once again UFC light heavyweight champion?
Yeah, I think it's got to go back to Daniel Cormier. Since it's a pre-fight test, it's going to get overturned to a no contest by the California State Athletic Commission. It's got to go back to Daniel Cormier. It's a really unfortunate situation. You got to feel for Daniel Cormier just as much as you do for John Jones, because Daniel Cormier you saw him post-fight, he was distraught. He had lost the biggest fight of his life, and he felt like he was not worthy of being in the mix with John Jones. And there's going to be people that are still going to feel that way, but it's one of those like fool me once, fool me twice situations where how many times can we make excuses for John Jones? How many times can we believe him after what's happened? I mean, he is one of, hands down, if you were to make a top 5 MMA fighters of all time list, John Jones is, if he's not at the top, he's right there. And he keeps having these situations, whether it's DUIs, hit and runs, cocaine, whatever. But the last two, the steroid and PED things really tarnish his legacy. And I hope whatever it is that's caused all of this for John, I hope he gets help. I mean, everybody, painted the perfect picture that this was redemption and he was cleaned up and he had taken care of all this stuff. And yet here we are just a month after the fact, and we're right back where we were before. And it's just really, it's sad for John. It's sad for Daniel. It's sad for the sport. And, we're probably looking at 3, maybe 4 years suspension because he's a repeat offender, even if it's a tainted supplement. Like they ruled last time it was gross negligence from his camp. And I don't see how they're going to rule any differently this time. Yeah,
you could be right. It's really unfortunate. It really is. It just makes you shake your head, and he's such a talented guy. I don't know. I, too, agree that the title should go back to DC, Daniel Cormier. I would imagine we'd find out in the next few days, but that's truly unfortunate. Let's jump on to the McGregor-Mayweather. I know everyone's beating it like a dead horse or like a redheaded stepchild, with all respect to all the redheads out there listening. But what do you think? A breakdown on how you think that could play out, and what you think the result might be.
So I've been critical of this fight pretty much since day one, calling it kind of a spectacle, nothing but a money grab. But as I started breaking it down a little further this week, I started thinking about, there's certainly the circus side of it, and kind of like the WWE wrestling aspect of it. There is still some good that can come from this, because I have to admit, there hasn't been a fight that's been this talked about by casual fans in a long time. And it's casual fans of boxing, it's casual fans of MMA. It's overall, like, you put the trash talk aside, you put, the fact that, okay, you've got a guy that's never actually competed in professional boxing against a guy that's coming out of retirement. You kind of put all that aside, and you realize that you're kind of bringing together combat sports fans from all angles to sit down and watch something together. And, unless there's some crazy nonsensical thing like a head kick or Mayweather getting on his bike and doing the Caleb Starnes, which neither one of those is going to happen, it's going to bring a lot of people together to watch a fight, and that can't be a bad thing. I do have some concerns about what happened. If McGregor wins, I think you're going to see MMA fans ragging on boxing people, and then you're going to see boxing fans, making excuses because Floyd's been out for so long. And, if Floyd wins, everybody's going to say, well, he's supposed to win. So, there's that stuff. But overall, like I said, it's captured just such a big audience. And, I've had people at my day job coming up to me and hollering at me and saying, hey, who's going to win? Should I place a bet on this fight? And that sort of stuff. And it's like, that's not typical. Most UFC events, if it's a Jones and Cormier, like, maybe I'd get that conversation. Occasionally you get the big boxing matches, like the Canelo and Triple G that's coming up. You get those in casual conversation, but this one has truly captured pretty much everybody in the fight community and every casual fan's interest. I'm not necessarily advocating going out there and spending $99 on come Saturday night, but go to a bar, spend some time with some friends and some like-minded people, poke fun at each other a little bit about the MMA and boxing thing. But you know what? Just have a good time, and realize that, this is good for combat sports in general.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Couldn't have stated it better myself. The outcome, who knows, but that breakdown is pretty important. I've been leaning toward the outcome that most of us experts are saying, that it really should be a win by Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Roorda is one of the dissenting opinions, though. Or have you changed your mind? I know at one point the doctor was thinking that the upset is almost a certainty. What would you say your position now is, Doctor?
I'm still feeling it's almost a certainty. It's not just a bias. The more research I'm doing, the more I'm realizing there's a lot there.
Okay.
I do think McGregor actually stands a chance. His footwork is not just unorthodox, but it is in the boxing world, it's still something that is substantial, and everything I've been saying since the beginning, I still feel the same way.
I like that. Well, the doctor, go ahead, Rob.
I'm going to counter Adam a little bit on that one. So, McGregor was an Irish amateur boxing champ. He does have some decent stand-up skills. I think what's really going to hurt him in this fight is the fact that he's hittable. If you go back and watch either one of the Diaz fights, he was getting hit pretty regularly, and what really hurt him in the first fight was the body work, and that's Floyd's MO. I'm never going to claim to be a Floyd Mayweather fan. He is not what I would call a good human being by any stretch of the imagination, but he is a fantastic boxer. He is one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time. And I think a lot of people, McGregor has built this aura. He's a great showman, he's a great salesman, and I think that everybody wants to get on board with that. And I love him for that, but at the same time, I think he's in over his head here. If he was fighting somebody that was 5-0, or someone that wasn't one of the greatest boxers of all time, I would probably feel differently. But even a Floyd Mayweather who hasn't fought in 2 years is still going to have just natural instincts in that boxing ring that Conor McGregor has never seen. So, I applaud him for taking the challenge. I applaud him for getting in the ring with one of the best of all time, but I don't think he stands a chance. I think the only debate I've had in my mind is, does it go the distance or does it get stopped early? I think it's TKO round 8 for Floyd Mayweather. I think the body work is just going to add up, and Conor's not going to have an answer.
Yeah, I think it could very well also be that case, the way that go that way, be the case like you just described. And I think as it gets to the later rounds, it will be tough for Conor. But as MMA fans, we'd love to see him not get completely smoked. So I'm hoping for him not to get completely smoked. Would be a surprise to me if he won seriously. And I know to most people except Dr. Roorda, and God bless you for that, Adam. And so it's going to be good. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming by, Rob. We're so much looking forward to seeing that event live next Thursday and seeing you in person. And so, want to thank you so much, as always, for your great contribution to our show. It's always a pleasure, and it makes the show better when you're a part of it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Enjoy the fights this week.
Thanks so much. You too, my friend. Have a great one.
See ya.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So that was Mr. Rob Tatum, very knowledgeable guy, very popular and a respected guy, one of the nice guys in the world of MMA journalism and the press. So want to thank him, Combat Press, the website to go to. Also want to thank Fuji Sports, our sponsor, sticking with us for the next season. Cross-trained MMA fighter as well. And iFluxy Studios here providing this great avenue to let us put out MMA Power Hour. We have a great rest of the show coming up soon, and our next guest will be right after these brief messages.
Founded in 1969, Fuji Sports is your #1 source for gis and grappling gear, specializing in superb customer service and high-quality judo and jiu-jitsu uniforms at competitive prices. Fuji Sports is a proud manufacturing partner with many established organizations throughout the world, and is also a proud sponsor of U.S. Olympians, BJJ World Champions, and MMA superstars. Fuji Sports offers gis, rash guards, t-shirts, backpacks, shorts, gloves, and more. Visit fujisports.com to buy or customize your own gear today.
Too handsome. He's too handsome for Hollywood. He's too sexy. He's too sexy for his own good. This is the King of Connecticut, Matt Granahan, host of The King's Court, telling you to go to the Amazon Kindle store and pick up a copy of my new book, Too Handsome for Hollywood. the world according to the suntan Superman, with the foreword by the UFC Hall of Famer Dan the Beast Severn. He's too handsome. He's too handsome for Hollywood. He's too sexy. He's too sexy for his own good. Yeah. $9.99. Pick it up today. Too handsome for Hollywood. The Amazon Kindle store. You'll be glad you did.
Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
Welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. So glad you guys came back to join us. We have an amazing show in store for you, following up on that great first interview. This next guest is someone I'm really excited to have on the show. He's a guy who's proving that you can be over 45 years old and still be a badass, tough fighter, someone that can keep winning and keep staying in shape, keep doing it, and be someone to look up to, and show that life isn't over at 45. We're talking about an amazing martial artist and MMA fighter, Mr. Mark Dodson. Welcome to the show, Mark. And now it looks like we got a frozen picture frame of Mark. Mark, are you hearing us? Because it looks like we just had a little bit of a Skype issue. Can you hear me at all, Mark? It looks like it froze right when I said welcome to the show, Mark. So what we're going to do, we have Dr. Adam Roorda here, who's going to help with his amazing skills, and we're probably going to have to cut the Skype connection and call Mark Dodson back. Is that what we should do, probably, Doctor?
That's absolutely what we're going to have to do. I'm just going to do it live on air. I apologize, boys and girls. We have some technical difficulties every now and then. Mark, if you can hear us, we will be calling you right back. If you can't, we're calling you right back anyways. But you guys can kind of watch as we're doing this, and
there you go.
Man, it gets to be fun.
Yeah, you gotta love it. The challenges show that we really are working on making everything as good as possible. And there's the Skype. If you guys don't Skype, that's the Skype theme. Dun 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 dun. Man, that was great. Huh? Okay, so now we're waiting for Mark to pick up the Skype there, and it doesn't seem like he's doing it. So we're not going to give up there. I'm just going to see if we can tell Mark he needs to pick up the Skype. So let's see if we can do this. And here we go. Dictation on live streaming. Here we go. Hey, no, now it recorded just what I said right there. That's yeah, I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, wait here.
Entertainment value, at least.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, we're trying to call you back on Skype. Pick up if you would. We're going to call you back in about 10 seconds.
See if that works.
Okay. There we go. There we go. You guys notice that dictation leaves a lot to be desired, as they say. Whatever you say, if you say more than 3 words, it screws up. at least one, if not two or more of the words, and can screw them up really badly. Like, you can be saying, a suitcase, and it puts down snowstorm. How the hell is
Snowstorm Sally?
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much. Yeah, So, but anyway, okay, there we go. Okay, I think then he is going to be ready for us, Doctor. If you want to try to get him back here,
I'm trying right now. We're calling. It's ringing. You can't hear it right now. I turned that down, but
no problem.
I will be able to see if he picks up. Nope. Didn't work.
Okay, we're trying again, Mark, to see if you can pick up. We're going to try again in about 5 seconds.
So while we are doing this, Colin, you were talking to me the other day about these women's fights, and I can't remember who it was I brought up, but I was looking for that ideal fight between.
I know who it was.
Who was it? Because I was sitting there looking stuff up. I'm sorry, boys and girls. I'm not quite as on par with all the knowledge and information as Colin here.
Yeah, but he does have a good idea. You know how we have Conor McGregor in a boxing match against Floyd Mayweather. So what the doctor said was he's got to make a women's super fight, but it's got to be like an equal playing field. So he said, what we got to do, we got to call up Gina Carano and see if she will fight in a kickboxing rules match against Layla Ali. Bam! That was, I like that idea. You guys got to like that idea, right? I personally think, even though both women are about 40 years old, that would be an interesting fight, because Layla only fought boxing. She is the bigger girl. She's about 5'11", and I think she fought at 175, and I don't want to guess her weight now, but it's over 175. And Gina is about 5'8" and fought at 145, although she was walking around a little heavier than that. So I think that could be an interesting match. The doctor may be onto something. So I think the doctor has been commissioned to try to see if he can connect with Gina Carano and Layla Ali's camp. And it would be either straight kickboxing rules or even Muay Thai rules. We might honestly want to see if we can get them to agree to fight in a lion fight for our friend Scott Kent. That would be something. What, doctor? Am I right or what?
Oh, yeah, that'd be an amazing fight. But, hold on.
Yeah. Chances of it happening are about 10,000 to 1, unless the money is big. Because you guys know this. Not that both ladies are broke or anything, but if we were talking about millions and millions of dollars, tell me they wouldn't be down. I think both ladies would be down. I think if you could put $10 million on the table or something like that, I think we might be able to hook that up. And I think that would be good. The doctor's thinking clearly, and I like the doctor. Yeah. The doctor has to think clearly. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the important thing. And we don't know, what kind of doctor he is a mystery, and he wants to keep that private for now.
That's 100% accurate. We don't need to tell people my personal details.
No. But just rest assured that whether it's a medical doctor or educational doctor, he takes things very seriously, and so he may be onto something with that Layla Ali against Gina Carano, and I'd like to see it. I like both ladies. The only thing is that we gotta try to get. Well, they're probably both not in their fighting shape now. I don't know. I wouldn't want to speculate on who is further away from their fighting shape, and then all of a sudden have a beautiful girl kind of cold cock me walking down the street. So
I was just gonna say. I mean, you're talking about getting paid money. It would take a lot of money just to get me to get in the ring with either of those women. I mean,
they're badasses. And beautiful badasses, both lovely ladies and both amazing fighters, so that would be interesting. Now, all kinds of other good stuff happening in Invicta on Thursday. We're going to be there, and we should have some good interviews with some of the female fighters. And not only that, but you don't know who's going to show up there. George St. Pierre might be there. We can interview him. You might see us talking to Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture, Dana White might be there. You never know. So we're gonna go out to the Tachi Palace, and we're gonna come back with some coverage here. So I think we're gonna be able to maybe shoot some of that up live, or air it with our next show or something, with permission, obviously, of whoever we spoke with, because we do everything 100% by the book. So. A lot of other great stuff here, but what are we talking? Are we looking at any luck here with Mark? Or?
No, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and send him a text and see if he could close out and get back in and call us.
Okay.
I've closed out already.
Hey, Mark, if you could close out your Skype, we're not getting anywhere trying to call you. So if you could close out of your Skype and then call us, then that should be able to make it work, period.
So, out of curiosity, who is it? What's the organization that Mark fights for?
You know, Mark has got a couple of different organizations. He's an amateur MMA fighter, and he had fought in competitions for probably 25 years since he was quite young, from point karate to kickboxing to smokers. He's a grappler that was had a document showing he was part of Gene LaBelle's grappling and judo organization, and so he was doing a lot of stuff over the years when he was in his 20s and 30s, and then just did kind of put a pause on it about maybe a dozen years ago, and is training his son and others, and is finding that he's been keeping up pretty well, and said, you know what, I want to jump in and do something, but I do want to work for organizations that are helping charity, that are promising to give some to charity or actively giving some to charity. And so that's really what he's about, and he's an amazing guy, and I really hope we can get him back here on Skype. But, you know, it is what it is. But just want to let you guys know, as you probably do, maybe some of you don't, we count down the Skype connection from our guest being a good one. Not trying to make anyone the villain and not trying to be a buck passer, but our equipment is good here. And if someone does have a good Wi-Fi connection and either a headset or an earpiece or a very strong signal with their Skype and knows how to use it real well, then boom, we're talking to them solid and clean. If not, then it can be a little bit sketchy, and we don't expect everyone's going to be a multimedia guru, and so, but you know, it seems like there is some issues over on Mark's end, and we feel bad about that, but there's nothing we can do unless we can get him to answer. So let's see if we can get him to answer here.
Yeah, it's showing he's offline, so he probably went ahead and restarted stuff trying to get it figured out. It's pretty normal. It does happen sometimes too with Skype. It's just a bad connection if it's not wired in, hardwired in, and not everybody has that capability like we do here. So it does happen. It's not a big deal. At the end of the day, we carry on the show and keep chatting and just have things going. Now with me co-hosting with you, we can make this a little smoother and a lot easier. It's already easier for me.
Yep, good.
You know, I'm not sitting here trying to figure 15 different things out with a commercial that you're hearing 15 times over and over again. I know you guys have hung in with us there in the past, so I appreciate that. And this is episode 1 of season 2, so keep that in mind. We will be evolving all along the way. Yes, season 1.
Season 2, episode 1.
Season 2, episode 1.
We're talking about the 2-1.
The 2-1. Oh, man, that reminds me of my first beer.
Nice. Yeah, we're excited to be with you guys, and the doctor is a guy that wrestled in the past and did compete on a much more amateur level in some MMA smokers, and then took years away from doing that in the Midwest, and was always interested, but was working on other projects. He's also a filmmaker and producer and director, and so, but he really has rekindled his love for the sport through our show, and he wanted to really get an even better handle on what's going on, and didn't want to contribute too much for that first season, but we have him up to speed, and he can also ask questions that are good, and some of them are questions that some people who are not that knowledgeable might ask, but it'll be helpful because then we can make sure to give really clear answers. And so he'll be coming up with some great questions, some mediocre questions, and some dumb questions, and we'll make sure to answer
usually
all
dumb.
Usually dumb. He said, yeah, no, what do they say? No questions are dumb questions. You know, they're all good, and so we'll definitely be happy to have him contributing. So we're trying to get Mark here, and what would you want me to do on this, Doctor? Should I try to let him know again we're trying to get him, or
you know what? At this point, I think I'll just try him a couple times, but let us know as much as you can about him. I don't know how far you went into details with him in the past, and were with researching him. He does seem like a great guy. You already touched on that, and I've been able to speak with him briefly. We actually tested things out earlier, and it was running smoothly, so it's kind of a bummer. But with Mark, you were talking about his associations with these larger names such as Gene LaBelle. Was he training out here then, or one of his other classes that I know he's kind of traveled, and Gene's been all over the world. Do you know, was he out here in L.A.? Is he based out here right now? Where is he located at?
You know, he's in the Pacific Northwest. I don't always want to volunteer an exact city where someone lives out of respect for their privacy.
Right.
You know, but he lives in the Pacific Northwest, and I think he was out here. And he's been a martial arts school owner for many years, and a teacher and a black belt. Ow! All of a sudden, had a pain in my jaw there. That didn't look good. I think I'm a little dehydrated. Let me drink a little bit. But he's been a martial arts instructor and teacher for many years, and is a really amazing, respectful and respected person in the community.
Okay. Well, and that being said, did you get a chance to talk to him about the organizations that he works with? Do you know any of the names that he...
I don't. I was going to let him announce them, and that's something that we really wanted to do. And, you know, I really want to see if we can... He's saying hold on now, so maybe that means he's trying to do something.
Okay, good.
Okay, we'll do, because we're desperately trying to get you on. We've only got about another 12 minutes, though, at this point. We really want to talk to you, Mark, but let's see if we can figure it out now. If not, we can reschedule it, because we really want to have you on and talk to you, my friend.
Yeah, we can always reschedule our guests, which is a great thing. You know, we're pretty fluid here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put something out for all the fighters that are paying attention. I know a lot of you are listening, watching, and putting your 2 cents in. We are looking to add to our guest list all the time. If you are an up-and-coming amateur fighter, we may be able to squeeze you in. Chances are going to be slim to none. We've had title fighters on in the past, and we are always looking for more title fighters, more A, B talent when it comes to pop culture, obviously. Just kind of give some insight to all of you viewers and listeners. We do have some people that have confirmed that they're willing to come on air, want to come on air with us, and they're going to in the near future. And we're always looking for more. We'd love to have it... We'd love to have more people coming to us. Right now, we're doing a lot of the reaching out. We're starting to get people coming to us a little bit, and we love it. We're open to anybody and everybody with a cause. We're here to help the community grow, and that's the big thing about MMA Power Hour is really just helping grow the MMA community to fans like myself who are your mid-level fans, and then you got fans like Colin, your super fan, and then all of you people stepping in because of the Mayweather-McGregor fight. Hey, this is a perfect time to do it, and this is the perfect show to learn about the MMA. You've got guys like me who, I know a lot of the moves, but I haven't been following the fighters. Colin, he's the man with the fighters, the stats. This guy knows the history of MMA better than any person out there, hands down. Colin, you're one of the best, and love doing all of this. So I'm going to kind of step in with the McGregor-Mayweather fight coming up. I know that's the main thing. Everybody's starting to get a little tired of hearing about it, but not me. I don't know about you, because we're getting so close. I'm getting more excited and feel like it's very important that we talk about it. But that guy McGregor sure is. He's able to see into the future or something a lot. I've seen him call a lot of these fights, and he seems to be doing that, calling, pinpointing the exact round that he's gonna TKO Floyd. And I know you really take that on a grain of salt, and are siding with Mayweather 100%. I don't know. What's going to happen when McGregor comes out in the 4th round and he called it?
If that happens, I mean, it's almost like kind of Muhammad Ali, like how he's done that to an extent. I think Muhammad Ali may have called 7 or 8 or 10 fights. Man, all of a sudden, all kinds of stress in my jaw here. I don't know what it is. Oh God! So am I falling apart here? No, please. But no, I think Muhammad Ali may have called quite a few fights on the nose, and I think McGregor may have called a couple. But yeah, he's starting to really be able to pull it out of the air, almost like he has control over things. If he's able to make this a quick finish and something that would be amazing, and people would freak out more. I mean, it's almost like he was born under a lucky star, this guy. He's a very talented guy. Yes, he works very hard, and he has great training, but man, talk about a blessed guy. But I don't know. The reality is that He's a talented guy. He's an athletic guy. Yes, Floyd's head is smaller than his, as he likes to say. I don't know that's going to be a big deal. Yes, his reach is a little bit more, and he is 12 years younger. I don't think that's going to play a lot into it. The thing is this. He's probably not going to be able to hit Floyd much, if at all. If he hits him, it better be hard and it better be square, and if it is, then that's his chance. But I don't see him being able to hit Floyd much, and I don't see him being able to avoid being hit by Floyd much. And that's not really a good equation if you're not able to hit your opponent much and you're not able to avoid getting hit by him much. The only thing I can think of is that if he's able to hit Floyd 3 times as hard as Floyd hits him, anything is possible. I think that late money by big money gamblers are going to come in the next few days, and I think if you want to bet Floyd, now is the time to do it. If you want to bet Conor, I would wait a few days, because I'm pretty confident that the odds are going to pretty much change dramatically, or at least somewhat substantially tilted in favor of Floyd Mayweather. And so, yeah, Mark is still trying to get on. I don't know if you want to try him once more by Skype, give it a last shot. But, I'd love to hear any opinions you guys have. I mean, I know we've got a lot of people that I talk to, and I think I've heard your opinions. But if you want to share more, if you're watching right now, share your opinions. We can look on the screen. I think the doctor will have a better vantage point than me. Or no, he won't. No, I won't.
Not today.
Not today. Yeah, so we're trying to, But anyway, afterward, we'll still answer questions if you guys want to shout out. But, anyway, it's going to be a good fight. Do I want McGregor to do well and win for MMA? Sure. I don't know. I don't see it happening. I think it could be an interesting fight. I don't think it goes a distance. I think Floyd wins within the distance, but we'll see. Could be wrong. Should be interesting. How about the undercard? I should look into it. You got to know.
I was actually looking, and there's going to be 2 belt fights.
Awesome. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Mayweather's protege, having a blank on his name here.
That's right.
But he's going to be fighting for a belt or defending. And then there's another boxer that is coming up in the ranks real fast. Definitely 2 different weight classes that are... They're spread out quite a bit. One of them's not the fight with Mayweather's protege, but the other one is an IBF, junior IBF title holder going up against a current belt holder. And it's just going to be an awesome undercard. I think it's definitely where the money's at. It's worth watching this fight. For those of you that are not into the main event, the undercard is definitely worth checking out if you are a boxing fan. There hasn't been the hype behind all these other boxers as of late, but I think this is something that's really going to help out the boxing world for sure. And I think you should all tune in, check it out. Even if you're not a boxing fan or an MMA fan, but are trying to see what it's all about, this is the perfect opportunity. Go pay for and I don't want. I have my own reasons here, but go to UFC.com. Go ahead and pay the $99 or figure it out with Showtime. Watch this fight. This is going to be the event of a lifetime. Whether it happens in the first round and McGregor gets knocked out, Mayweather gets knocked out in the 4th round, like McGregor says, or if it goes the full 10. This is the fight of anybody's life.
It's historic. Yeah, you don't want to be that guy or girl that says you missed the Mayweather and McGregor fight. As I'm sure you realize that. So, not to advertise or put more money in their pockets, but it should be fun. It should be really interesting. 2 guys with huge talent and huge egos to boot are going to be fighting.
2 of the biggest.
Yeah, 2 of the biggest for sure. The 2 kings, they say, is what the ads say. I love it. And with the money they're going to earn from this, they will be kings, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, just like I was going to say, people may say, where were you the last 2 weeks? Were you vacationing in the south of France? Did I go to Rio? Did I go to Europe? Give me some of that McGregor Mayweather money, and I will go to all those places and tell you about it. I promise. But
right, I think they were originally expecting and predicting it to make like $400 million, and now they're talking about it reaching the $1 billion mark. It's something.
The event overall.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, if it hits $1 billion, it's by far the biggest. $400 million, it's the biggest.
Yeah.
Because what was it with Pacquiao versus Well, I guess they walked away with like $600 million.
Yeah, the overall, well, not the individual fighters, but the overall take for the gate and the PPV. I don't know. Probably something like that. This probably should be the highest. I would think for sure. And the paydays. Sorry, about $100+ million for both guys. I don't know that that's been done too often, if at all. And 180 at 200 million, insane. I mean, I remember back 20 years ago when someone was making $10 million, we were saying, wow, $10 million, are you insane? Someone's paying someone 10. I remember back 30 years ago where people were paying Mike like $2 million, and a lot of the guys, who were between 18 and 40 years old were saying, for $2 million, I'll fight Mike Tyson. Right, and now it's $180 million, right? Now, sadly enough, probably for $2 million, nobody would fight a heavyweight champion or any sort of champion, because it's going to be $2 million of doctor's bills if you live through it. So, it's going to be an amazing fight. We're going to get our last guest's opinion, and this next coming up, and I hate to say it, we have missed the opportunity to talk to Mark, and we'll give Mark a call after, and we'll definitely schedule him on if we can the very next show next week, because something doesn't work out, even though it has nothing to do with our end, we still want to make sure we can get him on the show, and so we'll have him on, I would say, next week, unless he's not available. But we're going to be taking a commercial break, I think, and then coming back with our next guest, or do we want to run right through, Dr. Roorda?
We'll be taking a break here. I'm going to go into a little bit of a song for about 4 minutes, because I need to take a quick break, and then we will come back, get a hold of Dave, and have him on. We'll have him on air, and we have some questions, some fight predictions, and breakdowns, and we will be back with that stuff here shortly. Colin, I want to say, but before I jump into our break, I want to say thank you for bringing me on this season. I love that you're bringing me in here. All your insight is amazing, man. This is very exciting. MMA Power Hour is turning out to be something so much bigger than I think either one of us planned on.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. We're glad to have you, Doctor, and always good to talk to you and get your insight. You're a great guy and a good friend, so happy to have you, Adam, anytime, our friend. And we will be coming back then with the Caveman, Dave Rickels, after these brief messages.
free. from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Hey, back it up, drop it down. Say she wanna wear my crown. First I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
Dig game so good, she talk crazy to me. She said, nigga, you could try, but ain't no leaving me. Hold up, big deal, baby, yeah, I give her the D. When I put it in the stump, she like, oh, you're killing me. If I go to jail, mama gon' pay the bill. Sagas game so good, I should put it for sale. I'ma feed you to my bedroom, that's the beast to me. The mother niggas on the jack, but she on me. Champagne on chill. D baby, I'm drunk. Lil' mama, what's the deal? Pussy wet like a wheel. Beat it up, Holyfield. Smoking cookies, Mrs. Phil. Grown man in the field. Baby girl, what's the deal?
Stay turned up with a young fly nigga from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Hey, back it up, drop it down. Say she wanna wear my crown. First I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
I drag it through the dirt like I'm pairing it. I'm a player, baby, I ain't mad shit. You can ride with a nigga down the coast, though, but please don't stuff both hoes. She on that Montana, that's the coke boy. She said it makes the demons come out. She gets freakier with her mouth. She likes to deep throat it with no doubt. Hey, she back on the shift, singing like whips. I bust in her mouth, now she gurgling shit. I'm a pimp by blood, not coincidence. I'm like a bad bitch, blindfold, trust a pimp. I'm leaning to the side, looking for a bad bitch to find. My eyes on the prize, I'm wildin' tonight. Don't try to stop me now. My grind is on the rise. Your bitch is on the side. And I'm sliding her tonight. I'm sliding her tonight. Ooh. Wow.
Stay turned up with a young fly nigga from the west side. Oh yeah. Lil' mama with a bad little tune from the south side. Hey, back it up, drop it down. Say she wanna wear my crown. First I gotta take it down. Drive that shit into the ground.
Get ready for FanFlow, the ultimate way to experience live music. With FanFlow, you become a part of the show. Connect and share with fellow fans who love the music as much as you. Control what you hear, control what you see, and record it so you can relive those amazing performances wherever and whenever you want. Before the show, you decide the playlist and interact with the venue. During the show, you share your experience, buy what you're hearing, and hear what you want. FanFlow gives you the superpowers you wish you could have at a live performance so you become a part of the experience and connect with your favorite performers.
And welcome back to the MMA Power Hour. Your host here, Colin Crandall. So glad you guys stayed with us. And our next guest is an absolute fan favorite. He is a top 10 welterweight contender in the Bellator MMA organization. Super exciting guy. We are talking about none other than the Caveman, Dave Rickels, and we're going to be connecting with him live here. He had something come up he had to handle for just a few minutes, so we didn't want to have to keep on playing music, although we've heard good things that you like our music, but we don't want to keep staying at a commercial any longer than we have. So we're live with you here. We should be bringing on Caveman Dave Rickels here any second here, and there it looks like we're trying, and it looks like that time now. I'm telling you, Adam, if we don't get Dave Caveman Rickels on this show, I think we both need to jump off the nearest bridge. No, just me, maybe not him. You know, he has a longer life ahead of him, I think. But no, I'm gonna guarantee you this: we're gonna get Dave Caveman Rickels, and we know that things happen, and if we don't, we won't jump off any bridges. We'll just come up with super exciting MMA stuff to chat about and break down a whole bunch of fights, and possibly even answer a whole bunch of viewer questions. So you got me here. And what have I been called? Yeah, it's the Jimmy Fallon of MMA interviewing. Yeah, I know the doctor might not totally give me that credit, but they say once in a while, if you want some credit once in a while, you just got to take it yourself. So I think I might be saying that I heard somewhere that was like the Jimmy Fallon of MMA talk. So where did I hear that from? Me? No, it had to be from someone else. I just don't quite remember who that other person was, but it was someone that exists, I think, in some plane or other, even if not this dimension, maybe a fourth dimension. But we're
fifth or sixth.
Yeah, or maybe fifth or sixth. Yeah, but just
we'll try.
That's right. Yeah, but listen, the Caveman has got to be there. Let me see, because this whole situation is supposed to be so simple that even a caveman can do it. Geico, I can use that. Come on, you don't hold that against me. Geico loves the MMA Power Hour. Geico once said that if they could, they would sponsor the MMA Power Hour, but there's a strict restriction that their owner likes boxing better than MMA, or otherwise they would have been sponsoring the MMA Power Hour. So
satire.
That is
a little disclosure.
Yeah, that's satire. That is definitely some satire there. Let me see here if we can satire our way into this next segment with Dave the Caveman Rickels. Let me see here. So let's try some more dictating here. This is awesome. Where is that there?
Dictate away.
All right, Dave, we're gonna Skype you in a minute, okay? All right, let's see here. This is going to be great. You guys are going to see an actual person other than me or Dr. Roorda here in a second.
Nobody wants to look at my ugly mug.
No, that was my line. He stole my line. But what can I say? I mean, I think I've got this good radio voice, but do I also have a face for radio? I would hope it's not quite that bad. But then again, hard to say. You never know. I mean, it's in the eyes of the beholder, right? One man or woman as a meat is another one's poison. You never know. I mean, as far as I know, we look good, we don't look good, it doesn't matter. It's all about MMA, and it's all about our fans and listeners. Man, I feel like I'm kind of whacked. I honestly haven't taken any drugs before this night. I just didn't get a ton of sleep, and I've been driving all around Southern California to get to various different places here. My mind is just, a little bit wasted. But here we go. Let's see. We're about to get Dave the Caveman Rickels on here.
And there's that Skype tone.
There's that Skype tone. There we go.
There we go.
And there we go. Is that you, Dave?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you. There we go. We see you. Fantastic. I appreciate you joining us because, as the old saying goes, it's so simple, even a caveman can do it, right?
And we do it better than everyone else.
I love it. Glad to have you on the show, Dave. We introduced you. We're so lucky to be talking to you, man. All kinds of good stuff to talk about, man. And I want to start out with your organization there that you run in Missouri. I think it's Evolution Fighting Championship,
Kansas.
right? In Kansas. I'm sorry about that. The king of Kansas we have here. They love him.
Right.
Yep, and we're talking about Evolution Fighting Championship. Let us know what's going on there with either events that are upcoming or just passed, and what's the word overall, and some good stuff going on with your group, Evolution Fighting Championship.
I've got my sixth show coming up next weekend. Oh, my goodness.
It sneaks up
Our
on us.
sixth show. Mm-hmm. We're doing it at the Kansas Star Casino, the same place that Bellator came to. And, yeah, man. We're putting on a damn good show, man, and I'm really happy with the fights we're able to produce. And as our show grows, I'm able to do better and better fights.
I like that. How many fights do you usually have on a card? 5 or 6 or 7 or what?
Shit, we're doing 12, 13, 14.
Nice. I like that. See, that's one of the good things. A lot of times people don't realize is some of these bigger shows are maybe doing 8 or 9 fights, sometimes 10, and I think you get more bang for your buck over in a good regional organization like Evolution Fighting Championship.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, man, when you do regional shows, especially if you're new to the sport, I think that's where you start. Start with regional shows and then build your way up, because you're gonna be amazed at the talent that those people. I mean, if you're a casual fan, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna watch people beat the heck out of each other,
Nice.
and you're gonna watch it for 15 fights.
Yep. I like
4
that.
hours.
I like that. Sometimes maybe even 5 hours, depending on how long the fights go.
Right.
Yeah, and you have all different weight divisions. I think right now you're not having any women fights, or are you?
We are, yeah.
You are?
We haven't, honestly, we've tried to get we've got a girl in town named Kelsey Adkins who's pretty dang good. Mm-hmm. And we've been trying to get her on the show as much as possible. And
I've seen recently an influx of women in the gyms, and it's really been cool to see. So we've got a good women's fight, Ashley Kelty versus Kiara Sadie, coming up. So yeah,
awesome.
And I think women's MMA in general is just growing. So you're seeing it. It plays out a lot more.
Yeah,
it's a hard match though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're excited about it, and we're friends with the people at Invicta. They have those great women's fights, and then your organization.
Invicta's a great show, man.
It is, man, and they have a fight out here in Southern California. We're going to go to and be part of the press at their fights on a Thursday, the 31st, and we're going to see some great fights there, man. So yeah, definitely women throw down, and they're amazing.
Man, I commend them for being like the first. This is a really terrible pun to use, but the ballsiest people to put together an all-women's show.
Yep, they are. It's amazing.
I mean, because that was a brass move.
Yeah. Now, they're located not terribly far from you. I know they're over in Missouri, but did you ever get over there to the Scottish Rites Temple to see any of their cards?
I have, yeah.
Nice. That must be fun in person, huh?
Yeah, it was really great in person.
Nice.
And I saw, I can't remember who it was, but I saw a lot of fighters there, which was great to see fighters showing up to support the show. I think, James Krause was there,
nice.
A few other guys. It's great to see them out there supporting the women's MMA.
Absolutely. Well, we're definitely big fans. And, my producer, Adam, who we're bringing in to give his opinions more, he spent several years. He's originally an Iowa boy, but he was living next door to you in Missouri for a while. And I know he's a fan of yours. And Adam, how far away were you living in Missouri to where Dave lives? Where do you live in Kansas? Or not if you want to give your home city, but what area do you live around in Kansas, Dave?
Me?
Yeah, you don't have to give an exact.
Derby. Oh, I thought you were talking to your buddy.
Yeah, no. Derby, Derby, Kansas.
Yeah, I grew up in Derby, Kansas, man. Every time I fight for Bellator, as soon as the camera hits me, as soon as I hit the cage, Derby, nice. What's up? Derby's my city. I let everybody know. They tried to put Wichita down one time.
Right.
They tried to put David hailing from Wichita, and I was like, no, you need to change that immediately.
I like it. And Adam, how far were you living in Missouri from Derby, Kansas? Do you remember it all, or where were you living in Missouri?
A few hours. I was living in Lake Ozark, Missouri. The new show Ozark is based on that area. But, not too far away, about 3 hours, I think, from Derby.
Yeah, have you been over there to the Lake of the Ozarks, Dave?
I have.
It's pretty nice there, I heard.
Sorry, I just put a strawberry in my mouth right as you asked me that question.
No problem, my friend. No problem. You got to stay hydrated.
Try to stay healthy, guys. Fruit is good for your body.
It is. It really is, man.
But, I've been out to the Ozarks, man. It's beautiful out there.
Yeah.
I've actually caught some of the best bass I've ever caught out there at the Ozarks, which is, I love bass fishing. So
nice. They do a lot of that over there, Adam, I'm sure. Right?
Tons of it, yeah. But there's a big competition out there, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like Billy Bob's bass.
Yep.
Why does it got to be a Billy Bob?
Yeah. No, it really is something like Billy Bob. That's not even me coming up with that. It is really something like that.
Trying to make up some hunky-dunky.
Yeah. No, he'd only be honest, Dave. Yeah.
We're talking Ozark area. It really is.
It really genuinely is Billy Bob.
No, that's really just actually his name.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, I tell you, Dave, there's a lot of good stuff we want to talk about, and let's definitely do this first, because I want to have you go over some fights coming up in the next Bellator, but we know that you have nothing signed yet, and anyone out there who wants to go out and shout out Bellator, that we got to have Dave Caveman Rickels on a fight.
Tell him, hey, if you're listening to this, hashtag David or hashtag bring back Caveman, and then just tell him that I want the easiest fight in Bellator MMA. I want Dylan Danis.
Yep, I love that.
Easiest fight in Bellator MMA. I want to smack him in his mouth.
Yep.
Dude, I don't even have to make a fist.
Nope.
I will literally just smack him.
Yep, I love it. I think that would be definitely a fight you could win. It would be amazing that he's got such a high profile without having any fights there, being just a pure BJJ guy. It
makes me so bad, dude.
Yeah, I know. He's getting all this love. But no, I hope they give him to you, and I think that would be a good fight that I think you could definitely lay the smackdown on the BJJ world champion there, and I'd like to see that. And I think
I've already beat one. So I'm racking up BJJ world champions. That's my goal.
Yeah, I like that. that. You can do it. I know you can. You have been doing it, man, so that would be great. And I know you'll take whoever they give you. I don't think you're turning down fights, are you?
I've turned down 0 fights in Bellator.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So Bellator, we want to do that.
You've been focusing on that.
Yeah, no, we'll be seeing you soon there, I know. And everyone shout out, we want to see that, and hashtag bring back David Caveman Rickels. So we'll do that for sure. Speaking about the Bellator organizations, let's get a breakdown on some of these upcoming fights. Before we do, though, what's your thought on McGregor Mayweather, man? I'm so excited to hear.
I do love talking about it.
Yeah, I love it. I can't. Yeah, tell me about it in your own style, man.
It's the best damn entertainment we've had in a long time.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about how you see it breaking down and playing out?
Okay, so I've just been watching a lot of, it's hard to miss it, honestly.
Yeah, it's right there.
A lot of insight and views, and obviously the videos of him sparring and this and that.
Yeah.
And I think most of that is hype footage, but
yeah, interesting.
I do believe, from my experience of sparring with pro boxers, I think that he's got to use your strange footwork. Me switching orthodox to southpaw on them, those sort of things. Like for the first 3 rounds, I think he could possibly give Mayweather a little, he might be able to hit him a little bit. He might be able to tag him a little bit. So I think the first 3 rounds could possibly be entertaining. But outside of that,
yeah,
I mean, they figure you out so fast. Like a really good boxer would figure out exactly how you're stepping, the patterns that you're creating.
Yeah.
They figure you out so fast. And
yeah.
I think he has a short chance.
Yeah, and almost like if he can do something in the first 3 rounds, that's where his chance is, you feel.
Right, that's how I feel, and I think he needs to make it dirty, man. He needs to be out there. He needs to be doing Nate and Nick Diaz. He needs to be talking shit while he's trying to hit him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he needs to be grabbing him.
Yeah.
He needs to force. He has to make him engage somehow, because that's how you hit him.
Yeah.
If Floyd's throwing, that's the only way you're probably going to hit him. So
yeah, and I think just what you said is kind of what I'm thinking. In the clinch, he can do some dirty boxing, or he can head plumb him or do something. I mean, the one thing, the one thing that has been made clear is that any sort of a kick or a takedown or anything means that he could he could lose his entire purse, and get sued on top of it. But so the only question is, can he do something subtle? I mean, can he in a clinch throw a little bit of an elbow or yank Mayweather's shoulder like John Jones did to Glover Teixeira a few years ago?
Okay.
Well, right, something like that.
I would say,
yeah.
I would immediately be leaning towards like, there's no way they're gonna let that fly.
Yeah, probably not. But you never know.
I do think he can, hang heavy on him.
Yeah.
Use his size and weight advantage, because he's definitely way bigger.
Yeah.
He needs to hang on him, be heavy, talk shit in his ear the entire fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he needs to make it a dirty fight, man. Like, he needs to be as dirty as possible without breaking the rules.
Right. Maybe try to get Mayweather angry and throw him out of his game.
Right.
Yeah. And my producer here, Dr. Adam Roorda, the one we were talking about, who was there in Missouri for years, he is a huge MMA fan, and he would love to see McGregor win for us MMA guys, as a lot of us would. But he is one of the guys that's believing in the almost impossible. And your thought again is, just because of the mystery of this Irishman or whatever, is that he'll win?
There's a 10% chance. Man.
Yeah. Let's see what the doctor says.
Yeah, there's a 10% chance, but I think it goes along the lines of exactly what you're saying. The first few rounds, I think he can do it. If he's going to do it, it's going to be in those first few rounds.
Yep.
There's no other way. I totally agree with that. I don't see it going the distance, but he goes in. He goes in hard, and it's something I know Mayweather's used to, but hey, at the end of the day, it's wishful thinking.
The biggest factor, I think, here is so Conor McGregor has a win-win situation.
Yes, absolutely.
He loses, he's supposed to lose.
Correct.
He goes out there, he gives his heart, he gives his all. He tries to tag him. We know he has the confidence.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a second. Confidence in fights is like,
it's
that, I mean, that's one of the biggest factors, you know.
Yeah.
If there's any doubt in the back, even in subconsciously, you're doubting anything, like you're gonna get your ass whooped. Like that's just how it works. But
For sure.
so he's got that. He's got the confidence, man. And if he goes in there and he starts touching him at all,
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad because he's just gonna get hungrier and want it more, you know. So
Yep. It's going to be interesting. He's got a chance. I think they would call it a puncher's chance. Would you agree, Dave?
yeah, I mean, you're crazy. You're crazy if you don't think he doesn't have a chance.
Right.
He's got just as much a chance as anybody else who's been in there.
Yeah. Yep. And so I
He
think
knows how to hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing. Like, if you know how to hit and you know how to punch, you can catch somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And he does some unorthodox stuff. You know what I was almost thinking, Dave? I was almost thinking, you know how in MMA you can actually stay at like kicking distance and you're fine. You know, because you can be a kicker or you can be a guy who's a wrestler and you can want to be staying, you know, and they're not going to warn you. But my thought is that he might want to try to keep like a distance from Floyd. But I'm thinking that if he tries that, the referee will probably warn him. Wouldn't you think, if he stays out of the pocket like that?
Man, I think that would, in my head, I think that would be counterintuitive to like what he needs to do, which is corner him, put him on the ropes, damn near grapple him.
Yeah, just crowd him
damn
and
near
lay him.
grapple him.
Okay.
You know, maybe work some dirty trips with your knees. You know what I mean? Like, I just think he's gotta work everything that Floyd is not thinking about.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what I'm thinking. He's got to be as tricky and as smart as he can, and then do it quickly in the first few rounds. Do you think?
I bet they've just been repping, dude? I mean, Paulie Malignaggi even said something about how dirty Conor was fighting in the boxing ring, and
in their sparring sessions, in their sparring sessions, and that's something that could come in handy.
Right.
Do you think if somehow, do you think though that if Conor doesn't get it done in the first 3 rounds, that at some point he
decision?
Okay, so you actually think he wouldn't be stopped? Do you think he'll gas like some people are saying or not?
Man, I don't know, because shit, even after a night of drinking, I can go in and box 6 rounds.
Right. So he probably, you wouldn't think he'd gas then.
I don't know. Personally, I don't think that there's anything harder than fighting MMA for 15 minutes.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Or 25, let alone 25 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I can, I don't know, man. I could be wrong, especially if expenditure way. Like, if you think about it, he should go out there and try to expend all of his energy in the first 3 or 4 rounds, trying to catch him off guard, trying to overwhelm Mayweather.
Right, and get him out of there.
I think that's his best bet, which could leave him kind of gassed.
Right.
But, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends.
I hope he can last 12.
Yeah, I hope he hangs in there and does well and looks good, and I think there's a good chance. Well, I appreciate your insight on that. Let's jump into the upcoming Bellator fights. We have 3 Bellator fights and 1 UFC fight I'd like your opinion on. And let's start out with the main event on this Friday's card. We are talking about the card, I believe it is in New York, and it's going to be Chidi Njokuani against the former champion Alexei Koreshkov. What's your breakdown on that fight?
I love it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Chidi Njokuani is we have our coaches train together, so we've trained a little bit together per se, and man, he fought at the Kansas Star he fought Melvin Gallar, which I was happy to see him beat up.
Nice.
So, yeah, man.
Chidi's tough.
I think if it stays a stand-up fight, I think Chidi wins it, man. Like, I would honestly think like it'd be best for old dude to take him down, and because he's never he's usually a rangy fighter. Spartan, right? That's his nickname.
I believe so. Koreshkov, I think.
Koreshkov.
Yeah.
He's usually a rangier fighter, but I mean, you're talking about Njokuani coming in at 6'6" or whatever he is, and
definitely taller than Alex. Yeah.
He's taller and longer, so it's going to be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you think Chidi has...
I do think Andre probably has more power.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, dude. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. Do you think Andre?
Stylistically, that's a great matchup to watch.
Yeah. And do you think that Koreshkov, and I guess you're at Andre, that's right. I don't know why I call him Alex, but yeah, Andre Koreshkov. Do you think that Koreshkov is gonna want to stand and bang with him for a while, or do you think he's immediately gonna try to enforce a game plan?
I think he'll stand up and fight for a little bit.
Okay, good. But then if it doesn't go his way,
I think that'll be like a last resort type of thing.
Okay, and that would be great because personally, I'd like to see them bang, and I think if Koreshkov abandons that strategy and is able to do what he did,
I could totally be wrong, man, but dude, I guess I'm kind of talking from like my perspective would be that like, oh, you're a good striker, okay,
right?
Let's how good you are.
Right.
Like, that's what I would want to do.
Yeah, and I think the fans would want to see that, too.
Let's see how good you are.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they touch you. Oh, shit, okay, well, now I got to shoot.
Yeah. Because if you remember that first fight against Lima, where Lima was injured and Koreshkov just kept taking him down, that wasn't that super exciting a fight. And I think that some people feel that Koreshkov is going to try to replay that against Njokwani and just keep on taking him down.
I could definitely see it happening, but man, I mean,
we hope not, right?
I don't know, dude. We hope for the best.
Yeah.
That's what I always do. I hope for the best dang outcome that's possible.
I agree.
And those guys striking, man.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would love to see because I think they're both super talented.
Yep, they are.
I got to go with Chidi being the better striker personally, but...
Yep. Any prediction, or is it that one's too tough to call on the fence on that as far as predictions?
I personally see a decision in some way.
Could be either way, right?
It could be an exciting fight for 3 rounds. It could be totally boring.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll hope for an exciting one. I'm thinking I'm going to go with the upset, and I don't always make predictions either, and it's okay if you're on the fence. But I think Chidi wins that. I have a feeling Chidi can stop the takedown, or at least most of them, and it will be a good, exciting, striking battle, and I think Chidi can win it, and it'd be a huge win for him. And I'd like to see that.
That'd be huge, man. That would put him on the center stage, honestly.
Yeah,
so.
And he's a pretty good guy, isn't he, Chidi? I've heard he's a pretty nice guy, huh?
Yeah, super nice.
Cool. All right, let's jump next up to the co-main event. And we've had Fernando Gonzalez on our show a couple times. Very nice guy, very intelligent guy, training over at Team Quest. And
I'll fight him too.
I like that. No, I know you would.
And Brennan Ward.
I know you would. And I think maybe the winner of them or something could go against you. But
at the same time.
I love it. Yeah, the same time, the same night, right, Dr. Roorda?
I'd love to see that.
We'll do a 3-way matchup.
I love it. That'd be awesome.
Ladder match.
In the cage. And then say go.
I love it. Steel cage match would maybe make it, right? Starring the Caveman. And
that should be fun to watch.
That would be awesome. I love it.
No, he's super tough, man. He's got a super tough fight with Brennan Ward coming up.
Yeah,
man. And I'm excited to watch it, man, because I think you really saw how good Fernando Gonzalez was when he fought MVP.
Yes. Yeah. But he did
and
very well.
Oh, shoot. This guy's actually pretty dang good, and he clearly has a mindset for it too, because MVP's big thing is if you're scared at all, he's gonna knock you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're timid and you don't think you can win the fight, he's gonna knock you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's in there, he's talking shit, he's doing flashy, weird stuff. Like you have to go in and say, no, dude, I'm gonna smack you in your mouth.
Right, like Fernando did. He hung with him every step of the way in that fight.
Right. He's like, and I thought he kept his composure super, super well in that fight. He fought really well.
Yeah, he has that going for him. He's a real veteran. I mean, he's at 33.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the dude's a veteran. Like you can tell he's been in a ton of fist fights.
Yeah, he's so composed. He's so calm. It's almost like a walk in the park. Like remember, who just recently went to Bellator, Gegard Mousasi, as you know. And,
yeah,
right?
85, right?
Yeah, and I think he's fighting Shlemenko, which would be really interesting. But that's a good fight, isn't it? But if you remember,
he'll take Shlemenko down.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Yeah, but if you remember, both Mousasi and Fedor were so calm when they were waiting, to start the fight. I remember one commentator said, Mousasi waiting to start his fight in his corner for like a huge fight. And they said he looks so relaxed. He looks like he's waiting in line for a sandwich. You know what I mean? You know, right? And that's a good thing, you know, if you're that composed.
But the funny thing is, in his head, he's probably shitting his pants.
Yeah, that could be true. That could be
That's
really
the
true.
That's the real reality.
Yeah.
Is that like, if you're good, you probably are super scared, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. The more you want to do, the better you are. Yeah, but overall, as far as once the fight starts, you're definitely right. Fernando is just a great, crafty veteran and an awesome fighter, and a guy who really has amazing skills. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Ward is going to come at him?
Right. Yeah. Well, he's in the cage, looking calm and collected.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Not right before.
Right,
like,
that's right.
Dude,
There's that difference. He's actually in there looking
you know
calm
what I
during
mean?
the fighting.
He's in there like, all right, I'm cool. Like, I just got tagged right hand and a flying knee. I'm cool.
Yep, no big deal. Yep, no problem. No, he's amazing. And I'm cheering for him. I like him. He's a friend of the show. And I think he can do it. I think that Ward is going to be trying to come at him hard early on, don't you think? How do you think that fight plays out with Fernando? And
the way I think it plays out is I think Ward wins, but I think it's going to be a scrap.
Yeah.
I think I do think Ward wins, but I just because he has the wrestling and he can keep it standing, I think he's so damn big. I think
definitely cuts a lot for that.
Fernando is going to have a little bit of trouble. Just personally, man, like that's just how I see it going on, man. Like I think it's going to be a scrap though.
Yeah.
It's going to be a scrap. Like they're going to be trading punches. Like shoot, even Brendan Moore might even get dropped or taken down, or it might look bad for him for a little bit, but I think he comes out on top somehow.
Yeah, and I heard what you're saying, and I respect that. He was knocked out by Paul Daly about 4 months ago. Do you think that could weigh on his mind a little bit, possibly?
Well, dude, when you get knocked out, I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, but
no problem. That's right.
You think about that.
Right.
You're like, especially, I don't know how many times he's been knocked out, but is that his first time?
I think it may have been. At least it was the first time.
And he got starched, knocked out.
That flying knee just, looked like a shark took a bite out of his head.
Yes, that's what he's thinking about. But when I first got knocked out by Michael Chandler, dude, I came back hungrier than I've ever been.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
And so, I mean, you're going to see one of two things, man, a timid fighter or a hungry fighter.
Yeah, and more than likely it'll be a hungry fighter.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that the demeanor that he carries himself in, like, he's going to come back, like, wanting to prove him.
Yeah, I think so. Did you know that I found that his camp reached out to Fernando's camp and said, we got to make this a catch weight at, I think, 178. And
damn.
Yeah, and Fernando's corner.
I'm not surprised though, because dude, Brennan Ward is huge for that weight class.
He really is. Does that just lean the favor more, the advantage more towards Ward?
That dude should be fighting 85, 100%.
Yeah, he should. So him being able to fight at 78 probably again is giving him somewhat of an advantage. Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah, but
absolutely. Especially 8 pounds. Like, okay, the dude's 1 pound over.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be tough.
Close.
Yeah,
8 pounds. That means, dude, if that's 8 pounds, that means he's walking in at 210
or something.
Pounds,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like that's where he's probably walking.
Yeah, and so 78 is probably even going to be a hard cut for him. So yeah,
because he's saying I can probably make 78.
Right. Which Man, and you know what, though? I really hope that there isn't any bullshit where he comes in at 81 or 83 or something, because to me, and speaking on that, what would you do if you were Fernando Gonzalez and he agrees at 78 and the guy comes in at 82? What would you do?
I would say that, I had to learn bad from that experience. Like, when I fought Melvin Gillard, not only did he fail the drug test, but he came in 7 pounds over or some shit. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude, I had all that bullshit going on, and man, hindsight.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have just. But man, I just wanted to scrap.
Yeah.
Dude, and we were fighting in front of my hometown.
Yep.
I just sold $25,000 worth of tickets. I'm not gonna not show up and fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
but in retrospect, it's not that good when someone misses weight by that much. Someone's smarter if the other fighter says forget.
Right.
Yeah.
as I go through the game, I guess it's maybe an experience. Like, man, if you came in that much over, what do you really weigh when you walk in the cage?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I agree with you.
I think that's dirty, man. It's dirty. Like, unless you're giving me 3/4 of your purse, then it's not even worth it.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully he doesn't do that, because I really want to see that fight. And I think if he says 78, he better come in at 78.
Especially 78?
Yeah,
that's
8 pounds.
Right. And how long ago did he ask for 78?
I think he asked for that about a week, 10 days ago, something like that, which would be like maybe 2 weeks
okay,
out.
So you asked that for that. Man, that means you're at least 15 over now.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what he actually comes in at. But I hope it's what he said.
He's 220 in the cage.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, he's big and thick. I just think that that he needs to come in like what he said he's going to come in at, and then I think it's going to be a great fight. And I know you're predicting Ward. I appreciate that. I'm predicting Fernando because he's a friend, and I think he can make it happen. But it's going to be a tough fight. They're both tough guys.
Yeah, I agree. It could go either way, but I do think. I give my edge to Ward.
Yep, I appreciate and respect that. Final fight in the UFC. You got 2 skyscrapers fighting in, I think, a matter of a few days. Stefan Skyscraper Struve, 6'11" or 7 feet, depending on which fight card he's on and what the graphics show, against the 6'7" Alexander Volkov. What do you think in that fight? Volkov, I think, was in Bellator for a short while, or Strikeforce.
He was, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? Volkov and Struve, how do you match up that with those 2 lanky guys like that?
Man, I think it's a tough one, but I'm leaning towards Struve.
Yeah, me too.
He's got a lot of power.
Yeah.
Which he's been knocked out a few times, but he's still got a lot of power and pretty good hands. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just leaning towards Struve, man, just because truth is I've seen him fight more.
Yeah.
And he's had some more impressive wins, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, and I think he's got a better ground game. I don't think Volkov is much of a ground.
Yeah,
guy,
good
right?
point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and so I think, and not only that, but tell me if I'm right on this. You got a guy like Volkov who's like 6'7". How often is he fighting guys 4 inches taller than him?
Right.
Pretty much never. Right.
Dude, never.
Yeah,
so that's running back to the same situation with Korchkov.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's ever sparred anyone
2-3 inches taller than him. Not usually. Yeah, because there's no
170.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that gives the taller guy the advantage fighting a guy who's usually the taller of the 2. So yeah, I think so. I think it should be a good fight though, because I think they both want it, and I think Volkov will fight hard. Volkov may be more of a better technical boxer, but I think the fact that he's giving away reach and height is going to be such a weird matchup for him. Who does he bring in that's 6'11" or 7 feet tall to spar with him, unless it's Semi Schilt or something, who I think is 45 years old and probably wouldn't be willing to do it, or a basketball player. I think he probably wasn't able to get great sparring.
It's hard to replicate those kind of sparring partners and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. But I think that should be a fun fight. Well, I tell you, a lot of good stuff going on, man, and I really want to see you on that next card. So we'll shout out to Bellator that we want to see the Caveman. We'll hashtag it. I'll do it. Dr. Adam Roorda, my producer, will you hashtag something to shout out to Bellator for Dave Caveman Rickels? Get him on the next card, or as soon as we can, at least.
Oh, hands down. We'll get some of the fans out there to do it as well.
Yeah.
All on it.
You better.
Yeah?
You got it. We're going to do it, man. We want to see you fighting soon. I know you're staying in shape.
And I'm ready to get back in there. I've been staying in shape just to, I was like, okay, well, shoot. Fernando drops out.
Yep.
Brian drops out. I'm ready to jump in. I'm ready for whatever. So
I like that, and I know also that if they bring in the 165, I think you're all over that.
I'd be king at 65. Ain't nobody touched me at 65.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm a strange in-betweener, man. 55 is too much for my body. My dad almost cried when he saw me cutting weight to 55.
Yeah.
And so That was terrible.
Yep.
And then 70's too easy, man. Like, I used to eat cheesecake to make 170.
Yeah,
so
yeah. You're not a big 170.
it's just I have a weird body structure, man. And so
65
anyhow.
will be it. Well, I hope that's what they're about to do, man. Maybe Scott Coker can implement that, and maybe in the next several weeks he's going to call and say, Dave, we got 165. Let's get that fight signed.
I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, I hope so. We'll be cheering for you, man, because I know you'll be doing it, and even if it had to be 70, you'll do it as well, man. So I really want to thank you for coming on the show. We're cheering for you, man. I know you'll be back in action before we know it, and keep up the great work over there at Evolution Fighting Championship. Anyone in the Midwest, check it out. What's the venue and the exact date again coming up for that next Evolution Fighting Championship card?
Kansas Star Casino, September 2nd. That's next Saturday.
Actually, it would be a week from Saturday. September 2nd, right? Yep. 1 week from Saturday. Yep, fantastic. So anyone that can get over to Kansas or that lives there, Missouri, anywhere in the Midwest.
Oklahoma, Texas, wherever you're at, come see us.
Yep, go check them out. Hey, thanks so much for coming on the show, Dave. Always glad to have you, my friend.
All right, absolutely, fellas. Thank you.
Anytime. We'll see you soon. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. So that was Dave Caveman Rickels, an amazing guy, an amazing fighter, tremendous personality, tremendous skills. When 165-pound class is officially put in, they've approved it now for MMA, as well as approving 175 and 225, I believe, are the new divisions. I think he will absolutely be the man in that weight class, and I think at 170, he's a small 170, but he can still fight there. So Bellator, give him a shot. He really deserves it, and he's an exciting fighter, a great guy, a really intelligent guy, and promoter and owner of the or co-owner at least of the Evolution Fighting Championship. You can go there and meet Dave Rickels, maybe if you hit him up at that next event, and he's super cool, great guy. So Dr. Roorda, that was a good show. I think we had some good conversation and stuff. Is there anything you'd care to add here in the last several minutes before we wrap it up for the night?
Definitely, to all the fans out there watching the show, all the MMA fans that are just starting to jump in, all the new MMA fans and people that don't know if you're MMA fans, give us a share, give us a like, let your friends know about this show. We're a small fledgling show. It's a very small operation here, but we do have a large team of people behind us helping get the word out, but we could always use your help. Also, I would like to go ahead and thank our wonderful sponsors, Fuji Sports. You can go check them out, fujisports.com. Get yourself a little discount on checkout. Get yourself your wonderful gis. I am just starting to work out myself, and I'm going to be purchasing something through them directly.
Gloves, mouth guards, everything else you need. Shorts.
Yep. And on your way out, checking out, put in Power Hour.
In the discount code.
15%
off.
15% off. And who doesn't like savings?
Right.
I love to save. You
Good.
should too. So definitely check out fujisports.com. And then also, I would like to give a huge shout out to FanFlow. It's an app that it's in the works for events. Any MMA promoters out there looking for live streaming of events from the fans' perspectives and being able to share that worldwide in one place where people can choose. There's a whole bunch of different options. FanFlow, check them out. Get a hold of me. Ask about it. You can do it directly on Facebook. It's just Adam Roorda. You can do it on the MMA Power Hour Facebook page. And also we've got Combat Press. We had on Rob Tatum earlier. Thank you so much, Rob, for coming on. Thank you so much for helping getting the word out about MMA Power Hour. It is awesome. Again, like, share, comment, do whatever you can. Get the word out. Colin, thanks for having me on again, and I will leave the outro to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Adam Roorda. Always a pleasure, and appreciate your contribution. And you make our show more fun, and we're going to keep on letting our show be fun as long as we possibly can, and that's a big part of the goal, as well as being informative, entertaining and informative. So what we're going to do is thank you guys so much for being here and supporting. Any suggestions, any feedback, go ahead and shoot it to me on Facebook. And I want to let you guys know to look out for each other. It's scary, it's dangerous out there, so really do be careful. Take care of yourself as your loved ones and people that really care about you would want you to do. Look out for your friends, your neighbors, even your coworkers. be that guy, be that girl, spread the love in a positive way. It really makes all the difference in the world, and we'll be a better place. So let's all look out for each other. And we've got a great show next week. We're kind of in the process of getting the schedule set, so we'll announce it on social media in the next few days. So check us out there. Thanks so much again, Colin Crandall, for the MMA Power Hour, and I'm tapping out.
Hey, this is Colin Crandall from the MMA Power Hour, brought to you by iFluxy Studios. The MMA Power Hour is a show produced by fighters, coaches, and fans of our sport of mixed martial arts, so it is dedicated to anyone out there involved. We have top contenders as well as world champions. We have legends and Hall of Famers in our sport. They're talking about themselves, how they got to where they are, who they are, what they're about, what projects they're involved in, as well as predicting huge upcoming MMA fights and a lot more. Let's get ready to feel the power. MMA Power Hour, brought to you by iFluxy Studios.